Hey, Wanjan, and welcome everybody to the stream. It's me, and we're chilling. Got the coffee ripping, and I'm just here sitting, kinda riffing off the top of my dome. You know, just feeling a little loosey-goosey today, that's all. So yeah, today we're going to be picking back up on the world building stream. We had a good session. I think last time we got to talk about a lot of key points when it comes to building a world or just kind of running or curating a game for players. And like these aren't like lore points. These aren't like really cool ideas, you know, like stuff that's like breaking the bank, right? This is just like things that are important to keep in mind. I think like mentalities, if you will, perspectives. You don't want to waste your efforts in a bunch of fields or aspects that aren't going to serve you or serve your party members. And I think that's definitely something to be talked about. Is this concept you'll hear a lot of dungeon masters kind of say, like, don't over prep. You'll just burn yourself out, don't over prep. While we're on that, I mean, don't under prep. And please don't not prep. But they're right, like, you don't want to over prep. I think it's a very good place for us to start here today, because on my last stream, we talked about like a lot of different things that I want to do or accomplish in this campaign from level 1 to 20. And, you know, on that, like, we're going to be starting at level 1, so, like, quite literally, I don't need any level 10 or level 20 content right now. I just need to know what I want it to be. I need to have an idea of where it's going to go. But if you're listening in on yesterday's, or was it yesterday? I don't even remember anymore. Yeah, today's Monday. It was yesterday's stream. So if you're listening in, you would have kind of seen that there's stuff that I don't want to task my players with, and these are the things that you don't want to be prepping. But also, like I was saying, this level 10 to level 20 gameplay is stuff that doesn't need to be actually like tied down. And one of the things I was also saying yesterday was you want the story to be kind of told by your players. So creating a big, rich, intricate story, or maybe like just writing a book or a novel ahead of time in a homebrew campaign just really isn't going to serve you. That's one of those aspects that you'll pour energy into, and it won't serve you at the end of the day. What you'll end up having to do is change it, get rid of it, move pieces. You know, you might end up confusing players. A lot of times we talk about, when we're dungeon mastering, where you point the lens, the camera, if you will. And as the players, your only insight into the world is where the dungeon master points the camera. So if you continuously point it on stuff that, again, isn't serving you, you're just going to create confusion. You're going to muddle the thoughts. You're going to muddle the thematic. You're going to have less immersion. And that's not what we're going for. We're going for, you know, high immersion, high thematic. You know, that's the goal, at least. So I need my pen so I can sloppily write one-handedly. So let me just like 360 here. I know it's over here hiding. Come here, pen. I found a pen. Okay, so let's pick up where we were. So we were last talking about the town of Daggerford, and what I have envisioned is a campaign that is immersed in the city. So almost if someone is going to ask what's the story I want to tell, well, the story I want to tell is the one of Daggerford and one of its people. In the last session we talked about Carnasil, an ancient red dragon that was unleashed upon the small hamlet of Daggerford, and besieged fire across the northern scape of the Sword Coast. If you follow any Wizards of the Coast content, you'll see Dragonfire, the card building game, kind of takes that story with us a little bit as it travels up northward into the mountains. And again, like that camera lens is following the dragon and the adventures that chase after that dragon, and then eventually slay the beast and save the townspeople and save the Sword Coast, right? That was that story. This story is what if the camera never left Daggerford? What would that city look like? What would its people do? What would be happening there? You have an up-and-coming town that's trying to weigh for affluence and clout upon the western coast of Faerun. They're situated beneath Waterdeep and Baldur's Gate, two very prestigious towns, cities in their own right. And then Daggerford, the up-and-coming newcomer, right? It gets kind of knocked down a peg through flames and fire, right? So what we literally have is we have some players in a town that's going to be half destroyed. And on that, I think that's something I am going to start. I'm not going to be as physically able as I was 2 weeks ago as far as my map creations go, but I am going to bring up, do a couple Dungeon Alchemist streams throughout the week, just because I don't want to not make the maps that I'm talking about here, that I'm going to use and play with. I want to have that kind of go in tandem, the creation of the world and the world physically coming into a 3D format. So I am kind of excited. I'll be doing that Wednesday. That's when we'll be doing the DA Dungeon Alchemist stream. And I think will be a lot of auto-gen and just structural stuff, slow and easy, just to kind of get a shape of a world. Because as you see in my stream many times, when you add to your thematic, the inspiration grows. It builds. Every time you put another feature on the map, you see more, and it feels more real, and it draws you in. So what we have envisioned is a town of Daggerford has been kind of torn asunder through dragon flames. These people are going to be of the age that they would have been alive when the dragon struck, but they wouldn't be of an age of adulthood or even a teenager's adolescence, right? I really want to have this stained in the back of their minds in their backstories. So I very much see children of Daggerford witnessing a horrific scene of a Zentarum cult, unleashing its chaos on the town, weighing for power, all things that are very confusing for somebody that age, but the one thing that would resonate with them is the sheer magnitude and power of Carnasil, the ancient red dragon, which would have seemingly appeared from nowhere as it was released from an iron flask of holding. And that's kind of where I want to start with these characters. So I think character write-up. I think that's where it's important that we set our players off in the right direction. So character creation. Level 1. I don't know what's easier for me to do. I think typing this would be easier because I'm gonna have to retype the format anyways. So let me get my docs up. Okay. Inspiration, story. That is something that we can look into today a bit in depth, I think. Formatting. Is how we want to approach inspiration. So, real quickly, I just want to have something new for inspiration. I want it to operate differently. The common use of it is for it to. The common use for it is for it not to be used. The second common use for it is for it to be used as just like a impromptu advantage. Like whenever you want to just reroll a d20, just go ahead. As long as you got an inspiration point, nobody cares, right? I've seen some other mechanics kind of created around the same idea or premise, but nobody's actually like done something different with it, and I feel like I want to. So character creation, we will be level 1. Level 1. Born or raised in Daggerford or a surrounding province. And I think adding the province bit is going to be important because I don't like saying no to people. I don't like turning people down. Like if someone says, "Oh, I want to be this, I want to be that," I want to make sure there's enough options in the story for it to make sense and it to be okay. And not to say that I'm against the opposite, but just I like staying in the realm of yes and trying my best to do that. So let's see. Born and raised in Daggerford or surrounding province. Please create a short backstory why you are a citizen of Daggerford. Please create a short backstory as to why you are a citizen of Daggerford. up until the age of young adult. I also want to keep like open parameters. I don't want to say like up until the age 20 because two things. What if there's like someone who's a late bloomer for whatever reason, you know, and also races have varying age kind of formats, right? So an Aarakocra comes to adulthood at like age 2 or 3, which I think is just really weird because like in my mind you would just physically be the size of an adult at 3. You definitely wouldn't have the wisdom of a 30-year-old adult. You know, like wisdom is through age and years and seeing and experiencing. Like that adult Aarakocra at age 3 would literally just be a toddler and probably act accordingly. But you know, maybe their brains mature at a faster rate too. I don't really dig too deep into stuff like that, because like at the end of the day, it just like really doesn't matter. That's one of the facets of world building that doesn't serve you. You can dive into it, you can make a bunch of rules and mechanics around it, but at the end of the day, it's just going to hinder or prevent you from having fun or telling a good story. Born and raised in Daggerford or a surrounding province. Here's a short backstory as to why you are a citizen of Daggerford up until the age of being a young adult. Our story begins as our story begins when our party meets is that important? At training camp. Our story begins when our party meets for the first time at training camp. It is custom customary for citizens of Daggerford to serve. Let's say a year. Go to level 1 to 5 in a year. It's customary for citizens of Daggerford to serve a minimum of 1 year. The town guard. serve a minimum year in the town. Excuse me. What's that called? As Daggerford is a less affluent what's that called? What would it be called? The less affluent the country state. Oh yeah, less affluent state. As Daggerford is a less affluent state. Hey there, thanks for joining. Municipality, maybe, right? I think state, like a state actor, like a global state. There's a better word, especially yeah, province. I use province, but province would mean like, as I used it before. So like, Daggerford itself would be the keep, and then it would have provinces around it, right? So it'd be it'd be lesser lands around it. But what would all those lands be called? Plus Daggerford. Words. This is like, I always like just putting a word there, and then like it'll come to me in like 2 days at like 1 in the morning, you know, while I'm playing like League of Legends, and I'll be like, oh, that's it. Yeah, we'll placeholder it. As Daggerford is a less affluent state, please choose. Stop saying please. I don't need to say please as much. Choose. I'm so polite. I'm just like putting it into my writing prompts for my players. Choose the worst, right? That's why I love writing things down. You gotta write things down as much as you can. Little notes, tidbits. I have like 3 or 4 notebooks that just like sit around my room at all times. Yeah, literally, right? Like, let's see. What is the go into some character creation? Old Garrick. The most fun. Yo, we're getting old. I gotta be careful. I can't bang the head or beat with the music. I hurt myself. Lifestyle. There we go. No higher than modest. Choose a modest lifestyle. No, choose no higher than. We broke! This is also like, I guess a question I wanted to ask with this campaign, you know, because like, what is the story we're telling? Alright, great, there's going to be a lot of things we talk about and do in this campaign, so you know, ideas and mentalities and just kind of like the overall vibe. Commonwealth, yes, that's a decent one. We love the Commonwealth, throw it up from Massachusetts. But, you know, so it's like, when we play D&D, or when we play fantasy games, a lot of times we get caught up in these hero stories and tales. and don't get me wrong, like it's totally fun. Like I'm not saying that's not fun. Like I love being the hero. I love being saving the day and defeating the Necro Lich on top of the mountain, you know, and like having that long arduous trail to get there. But there's also a whole nother world that exists and lives around that, right? You know, and like we're often in and out of these cities, and I feel like there's this society and this story to be told about like the fabric of the people that exist. And you know, and like what does that look like? You know, Daggerford isn't going to be a highly affluent city. It's not like Baldur's Gate where there's all these rich people. So you know, it's a modest lifestyle, more of a medieval lifestyle. You know, but then also we're going to add magic into that, right? And like, what does that look like? Is the question. You know, like what do the streets of Daggerford kind of look and feel like? And that's what I want to kind of task my players with the creation of their backstory. I wanna see what they see for their upbringings and like their families and how they grew up as a young person. You know, in this town, and then maybe we'll get to play with that a bit. Maybe I'll get to kind of like roll with that, and I feel like I'm gonna need a lot of like low level encounters and stuff to get us started. So like maybe it's just like some ruffians on the street, or you know, maybe it's just like you got caught in the wrong alley with someone who knows how to use magic the bad way, right? Like what does that look like for these people in this town? Because like law enforcement isn't going to be up and about. Definitely after the aftermath of this dragon wreaking flame upon the city, I would imagine most of the municipalities and kind of services that the city would put on would be in question, damaged, need to be fixed, recreated. You know, the wizards are going to be busy. They can't, you know, so like in that opportunistic time, like what is happening on the streets, you know, and what does that look like? And I really want to like press my players to choose, you know, where they want to play in that, right? Do they want to be a good guy and maybe like bring some law and order to Daggerford, their town, or are they an opportunistic guy and they want to take advantage of the chaos to better themselves? And I think one of the things I'm not going to do is force players to... Oh, thank you. I'll mute the crap out of that because it's driving me nuts. Oh, so much better. Yeah, I don't want to task my players with being good or bad. I want them to choose. And not only do I want them to choose, I don't think good and bad is as black and white as alignments make it out to be. And I feel like for a lot of these citizens, especially younger people that are learning who they want to be in the world and they haven't had all the experience shown to them yet, so their potential might vary in which direction it goes, but I feel like alignment is a little bit more fluid. I feel like at times we can be really lawfully good, and at other times maybe we're a little chaotic neutral or evil neutral, or you know, maybe sometimes we're neutral good, where we feel like we want to help but we don't really act too quickly about it. Maybe we're just like a little lackadaisical, but in the back of our mind we're thinking like, I should have spoke up for that person, right? I should have said something for that person, but you never did. Didn't mean you were evil about it and you're like, yeah, that person deserved it, right? No, like, you know, so like I feel like these alignments are fluid at times, and I would very much like to see my players have some leeway with their alignment. I'm gonna allow them to change, maybe even frequently. Maybe this is something that happens. Maybe you were so lawful good all the way up until you got betrayed by the town guard, and you can never look at law enforcement the same again. And now you've just completely turned to the bad side, right? Like, what if something major in your life happens that changes the way you look at something? So that's something that I'm really excited to kind of push and kind of see where it can bring the story. But how do I feel about murder hobos? I feel like there's a lot of variables that go into it, right? So there's inexperience. There's players that don't know what they're doing. Therefore, they don't know their actions, so they're naive about it, and they don't understand how these things play out. I feel like there's players who don't always pick up on social cues as well as other people, especially when you're in an internet game style. So I feel like a lot of murder hobo behavior is either tied to naivety, being, non-intentionally oblivious to it, and it gets a bad rap, but like at the end of the day, like some people play like that. So it's like, I hate to say it's bad and like it shouldn't be good, like, because it can be good. Some people think that's fun. Some people like the chaos. Some people are bred and born in the chaos, right? But for me personally, I'm not like a murder hobo-y type person. But I think what's hard about it is the difference between the player and their behavior and the character and how they're acting, right? So I would love to see some murder hobo behavior in a character that was having an existential crisis, that was maybe just saw their mom die, something that's extreme that would happen in a player. But then like on the backside of that, it's like it's very difficult for that to be role played out effectively. So I don't like shunning and putting murder hobos down to the point where it's like, like you're so bad, you're just ruining my party. Because I feel like there is a place for it in the story, this courageous, chaotic behavior. But at all times, you need to be considerate of the game and the story that you're telling, right? Like, what is the story we came to tell? Is it the story of character growth over the course of a few weeks, or is it is the side story of us just getting every single guard in Baldur's Gate to, like, I've seen some crazy things go down where just like for example, it's like we're in the middle of Baldur's Gate City. We're some evil party members, right? We've done a couple of nefarious things, and a player just decides to challenge the entirety of the guards of Baldur's Gate. Just like, hey, I'm just going to start wreaking terror and havoc, almost like a terrorist in the middle of the city. It's like, okay, well now, like, what is the story that you're going to create behind that? And is that the story that everybody wants to tell? Is that the game that everybody wants to play? If the answer is yes, good, great, awesome. Go wreak havoc and have that chaotic episode or chaotic campaign or season. I would say, like, a decision like that, you're bringing into question everything we've done up until and throwing it away almost. Because it doesn't matter what we've done up until, because now the new campaign is us running away from the entirety of Baldur's Gate, the entirety of the Lord's Alliance. Like, there's so many more powers that be, and like we're only like level 10 at this point, so it's like what in reality you're doing is just creating a funnel towards a predetermined point that the DM's like, yeah, you need to be caught and detained in some point and aspect, and now that's the story we have to tell, because I can't just let you escape from an entire city's worth of people that are chasing you down, and or I'm not going to let you just beat all these people at like level 10 for no reason, No, I disagree. I don't think it's long-time players. I think it's players who haven't seen what D&D can be. and what they see in their mind is a warped version of like GTA, Skyrim, or like any other similar game like in that aspect. You know what I mean? Where they feel like, and this is definitely a thing, it was just separate from, it was like video game syndrome, where people come looking at D&D like it's a video game, right? But you know, like they see the game play out in their brain like a video game, like it's GTA. Like I can just go in and frickin' drive the car into a shop and then reload the save and do this and do whatever you want with no consequence almost. You know, it's just got free will. You know, and that's not the game, because you have people that are trying to, you know, very much have a serious role play and a serious story that's created and told together, right? And it's almost like, I think a great way to look at it is like say we are all writing a story in a book ourselves, our own personal story, right? Not every author has the same writing style. So it's like if you had, I'm bad for examples here, but like, oh hey Ricky, what's up, man? So as I was saying, so like if we were all writing books, you know, if you had like J.R.R. Tolkien and then you had maybe like R.L. Stein and you know, like Edgar Allan Poe, right? So those are your three artists that are in your party that are making a story. Like those are three different authors, and those are three very different stories that aren't always going to mesh very well. You know, so I definitely attribute Murder Hobo-ness to a perception of D&D that is naive or hasn't been seen yet. Because there can be experienced players that play a lot of games that are half games, just one shots, with people that are trapped in that naivety, right? But then also I've seen like players play a couple of games in the right like vibe, in the right mentality. Like you bring them in under your wing, and like one campaign, and this player is miles beyond the roleplay potential of these people who've done 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 campaigns, you know. So I don't think experience, like time wise, really is is more or less a thing. And again, like I said at the beginning, like there's a lot of variables that go into murder hoboism, you know. So it's not an easy answer, I think, and I think that's a lot of things in life are just like a longer, drawn out answer, or maybe that's just how I see things. What's up, Ricky? So we're not doing any map creation today. We're actually world creating. So my last stream, I did got a lot of progress done on kind of what I want the world to be. We are gonna have a campaign set in 5e lore. We're going to Daggerford, baby. So we had taken a small break as I'm creating the character creation prompt for my players. Yeah, setting up the parameters. So right now we were doing the parameters on how I want my players to make their characters. I want them to be level 1. I want them to be born and raised in Daggerford or surrounding province. And we took a little side set because Daggerford is a city that's kind of up and coming. Has been knocked down a peg from a terrible, disastrous event. So there's going to be some squalor, there's going to be some struggle, there's going to be some growth, there's going to be some change, right? There's all these things going on, and I want to kind of bring the lens of the camera down on, you know, like the regular people of the city, the citizens of the city, the streets, if you will, and like what does that look like in a high fantasy magic world? You know, like how would somebody rob their local store if they had level 1 spells and cantrips, right? And then also conversely, like how would the people of the town react? How would the store clerk react if they also had like level 2s and stuff, you know? Like and very much this question of chaos, because the city I've chosen has been kind of bred in chaos over the past 10 more or less a century, about 100 years now. They've had a supplanted queen who is in reality a succubus and is an evil archmage of the Red Wizards of Thay, right? So you have a very evil head at the top of this, and that's going to create a lot of problems for the people below. But then also you're going to add the Carnage of Carnisil, the Red Dragon, which was released through those evil biddings of the fake queen, right? So it's like there's a lot of reasons for there to be all this turmoil, and I very much am curious to see how my players react to that, and what they want to do with it. Do they want to be good? Do we have some sheriffs, some lawmen in there? Do we have some neutral opportunistic trade people that are like, hey, there's a lot of opportunity for us to make some money here, or for me to expand my family's business? Or maybe they're just downright evil and they've hated the government ever since they were born and they want to see it destroyed completely. So they're going to be really bad and really, make things worse for the town of Daggerford. I don't know what these players want to do, and I don't want to tell them what to do. I want to see what they want to do. Because as I was saying in my last stream, when we create worlds and when we're a dungeon master, we want to tell the story the players want to tell. And finding out what that is sometimes can be difficult. I think I struggled in my last campaign in that sense. I think that's as a dungeon master, we're all kind of just learning and growing. Like I have a lot of experience in. Oh, nice, thanks, Juan. I have a lot of experience in D&D and in RPG and in fantasy, right? I've been playing games and fantasizing like in my headcanon my entire life, right? But dungeon mastering is a whole new way of looking at the game that you're playing, and it's a learning process, right? We're going to start off small, we're going to grow, and I always try to, I think a good advice in this aspect is to choose one or two things that you really want to focus on and get good at, and just make those hyper focus, and then just let everything else be whatever, right? So in this, I'm really trying to focus on finding what my players want to do so we can tell the story, and then also inspiration. I want inspiration to be a thing. So let's get back to work here. Let's see. As Daggerford, let's have him choose no modest lifestyle. Town Guard offers housing and basic necessities. For active members, as well as a small stipend World Anvil. I've heard of it. I think some of my friends have talked about it, but you can fill me in because I'm not remembering it right now. But I've definitely heard of it. Is it a VTT? My brain says VTT or place to fandom, place to find information. Tell me if I'm right. Oh, what's up, Pandemonium? Yeah, please let me know. I'm blanking. Like I said, I know of it. Oh, okay, cool. So what does it do? Like how does the tool work? Does it help you organize your thoughts, or? Oh, okay. Yes, 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 yes. That's super cool. So, I guess on that, what I'm excited to do with this campaign and what I've done with my last campaign, this is like one of those things. How do you use it, Ricky? One of the things that I'm excited from the last campaign, I like using real 5e lore, and I already mentioned I use like Daggerford or Forgotten Realms fandom, as you see here. But like you can just copy paste stuff out of fandom, and you can bring those hyperlinks with you. So like I can just give people these hyperlinks back to, you know, I have these are the 8 lords of the Lord's Alliance, 8 members of the Lord's Alliance, you know. So like I have these hyperlinks, these exist, and a lot of times when I have players that have the meta knowledge, I'll just give them the link, because it's like that link gives you way more information than I can kind of translate in words anyways. Into the world building. Well, tell me how that works. So like how do they can like type in, they can add their own backstories to it, they can add their own plot points and just like notes and stuff. It's kind of like where like as you play your campaign out, it's where everybody can compile all their thoughts and things being done. I'll have to check it out. I mean, it already sounds interesting. Let me put a note at the bottom of my page for World Anvil. Word. Well, I mean, use things as much as they serve you. It's the same thing in life as it is, like, you know, being a DM and, like, creating things in your world. Like, use the tool as much as it lets you use it to your liking, right? For me, like, I'm not, I guess you could call what I'm doing half homebrew, because it is homebrew. This is going to be a completely new story. None of this has been told and created, and it's all going to be improv, story-based homebrew, right? But we're going to be using the elements of actual 5e canon lore. Daggerford's a real city. Hey, thanks! Like, Carnasil's a real dragon. There's entire modules created around these people. Zaz-Tam exists on the opposite side of Faerun as a necrolich in Thay. You know, and there's ties, you know, so there's real world implications in my campaign. And actually one of my players from that last campaign, The Light Within, actually just gave me a compliment. He goes, you know what, you know, like, the grass isn't always greener, you know. That's one of the things I did appreciate about your campaign, was you were at least using real D&D Wizards of the Coast-based lore. Which, as, I mean, we've seen on the last channel, I mean, I've been pressed a couple times. It's difficult, in a sense. You have to do some real research, almost acting like a historian at times. But I feel, personally, that we have a lot of tools at our disposal to make that really easy for us. Like, I'm not sitting here skimming through a whole bunch of dungeon manuals and modules, scouring for information. Why? Because I have Forgotten Realms fandom page, which already does all that. It compiles all the Wizards of the Coast content and all the information, and even some of that homebrew stuff in there. It's kind of like a Wikipedia page for 5e lore. Timelines, calendars. So I don't get to use it anymore. Cool. Honestly, well, I mean, that's a lot of those things that you're saying would be things that I would probably just do on my own accord, like in a Google Docs or like on a Discord page. So I think I'm definitely going to look into it. So thank you for the advice. Because I think it's really nice when you have a hub or like a place where everything kind of coalesces together. And in this campaign, I'll scroll up just to show you like some of the stuff that from my ideas is we're going to have a very intricate political scene. There's going to be guilds weighing for power and money and affluence, and that's very much going to be a mechanic and part of the game. So that's going to need to be calculated and tracked, and I very much would like my players to have the ability to just go to, say, the World Anvil page on their own time, off session. You know, when we're free, not when we're playing. When we play, we play. We don't do other stuff. I think it's an important thing. Because you only get 3 or 4 hours a week to play your D&D campaign, to play your game. So play D&D when you can play D&D. Do everything else during the week. But it's nice during the week to have that, so you can keep that headcanon going. You can keep the planning. So when we do show up on the session, we're ready and we're biting at the bit just to get that next thing done. I very much want these players to maybe have their own guild, maybe create their own stores, be a part of the city, be a part of the commerce. So we'll have to keep track of that somewhere. The money that they're making, taxes that they're paying, deals that they're making. You know, all these little things, and there's going to be quests and stuff coming from multiple components. They're going to be inside a city, so it's not like the storyline is going to be very firm and straight. I feel it's going to be more of a web. I feel like we're going to have like a hub where we try to bring all the business and information to one, but you're going to be doing a quest for this guild, you're going to be talking to the king and the duke and the wizard, and you're going to have all these things going on. There's going to be a quest board at the middle of town of just like people looking for odd jobs. So I feel like it's definitely more of a web than like a linear or an A to B to C type story. There's a free option, but doesn't always have all the really specific features. Okay, well, I'll have to check it out then. I've always been a proponent of free. We love free. And I will do the little bit of extra work to keep it free. So like back in the day, I did a lot of Photoshop or GIMP work, just for like map creation, character art, etc., etc. Because I mean, in this economy, like, come on, let's be real. Like, let's not be throwing dollars away that we don't need to. But if you find a program that you really like and support, like, throw a little money at it, because it's going to get better. Like, personally, I use Discord literally every day. So that's one of the services that I'm like, yeah, I like a Discord Nitro. You know, I like being able to slap up emojis that I created myself in Aseprite. You know, like, having my own custom channel emojis on Discord. Like, so Nitro, or like being able to just transfer, you know, these big map files that I make. So yeah, if it's a tool that you use and it's important, definitely, you know, if you can support it. But I love free. I think free is important for D&D. It keeps the community alive. And if you see up in my socials up there, if you check out my Patreon, all of my two-dimensional PNG maps are free. So please help yourself. There's only a handful now. I'll start putting more on as the year progresses, as we get into January. And then if you're looking for that full VTT JSNO file, like, send me a DM. We can talk about it. But I think just right off the drop, like, it's a battle map, you know, I'm gonna start throwing a whole bunch of stuff on there, because as a dungeon master, there's been so many times where I'm like, dang, if I just had like a really cool map of just like a pier with like a dock and a few boats, right? And then you go on the internet and you're like, well, there's this one, it's got a big tag over it. You got this guy charging money. You're like, I just need it for one session, you know? Like, I shouldn't have to spend $5 to get a little PNG map for one session, right? Like, that should be free. It's not. I didn't make the Mona Lisa. It's just a copy paste PNG art. You know, it's just some pixels. Let's see. So World Anvil is for never having them prepared a lot. I said that at the beginning of the channel. You can never not be prepared. Be prepared, DMs. Don't over prepare, but don't not prepare. Yeah, send them over to my Patreon at MeChill. There's a couple maps there, and like I said, I got a couple more maps just like in my documents and files that I haven't like dug out necessarily yet. Yeah. I mean, honestly, if anybody wanted me to kind of make a map, I'm open for suggestions. I think in January I'm gonna start expanding on my content for map making. So, like, say if you really wanted to see like a mountain path, or you have an idea of a cave for your party, like, yeah, it'll probably take me a few hours to make it, and it's just channel content. So I would not mind. So please send them over, have them check out my channel, and drop me a DM. Maybe I can help. Yeah, and it's like I've like on that Pandemonium, like there's times that D&D can be really fun and awesome with just MS Paint or a dry erase board or even some graph paper, right? And then there's other times where like those tools don't serve you anymore. So like I vividly remember like 3 campaigns ago, the DM was just trying so hard to narrate the room, and they're like, there's a door on the north and a door on the northeast and a door on the south and the southwest corner, and I was like, oh my cardinal directions. I was like, where are these doors? How big is this room? And what the heck are we looking at? And like literally all it would take is just draw a square and put some door lines and I would get it. But trying to translate all that through words and then set the scene and the tone is just hard. So I feel like, a little bit of prep out of session speeds things up in session. If all you want to do is translate the message of what the room looks like, it's much easier and it's a better tool that will serve you better with a small visual, right? And please just draw that visual before the game starts. Don't draw it while you're playing the game. I can't stand that. If you knew you were going to go there as a DM, why wouldn't you just take 5 minutes to draw it ahead of time, right? Like, what? Yeah, I think that's another good strategy. That's actually what my main DM at the Lore Masters, that's what they do. They have like a very large stockpile of maps, and they are really good at narrating a map into what they need it to be. And I've played, I think, there's one map which is like a bank/museum that they've used a good handful of times, and it's really fun to play on that same map and just see them DM it differently. And I'm like, oh, it's a new group, it's a new people. I won't bring it up. I won't tell their secret, right? But like, I know this map. I've seen this map, and like, So, and it's anything can work, and I feel like just trying. Not trying is the worst thing you can do. But definitely, I mean, the cool thing about being a dungeon master is there's 1,000,001 ways to do it. There's no right or wrong. So the town guards offers housing, basic necessities for active members, as well as a small stipend. Experience. In order to level up your players, you need to acquire gold. I don't know if I want this part here. Do I need to know this yet? What else do I need to make this character? You gotta be level 1. Gotta be born race. Gotta have a backstory. Up until then, I don't want them to be that. Put this down here because it makes no sense up there. See, this is like what I think I'm really bad at, is grammar, English, writing, prompts, story. But that's okay. Like I always, you ever play like a Final Fantasy or like any type of like RPG game where they have that skill tree and it's like a web, and it's like, oh, you're a little bit better at strength, but like your dexterity is low, but like that. I feel like DMs have this skill tree like for us that we exist in, and it can grow and change, but like just show up for the players, man. There's so many people that just want to play D&D and will be happy with what you give them. But definitely, like, this is where I struggle. I think I'm really good at all the other stuff: maps, world creation, thematic ideas, immersion, character voices. Like, I definitely have my strengths that I feel proud about. But, it's like sometimes in life you got to work through the stuff that you're not the best at to get what you want, right? So we're going to try our little bestie here, and I think it'll be good enough. Majority of life's just showing up. I do want to put something in. So what I'm thinking is I want to let them know that it's okay for their family to exist or maybe have a business, but I think I'll add to the end of this sentence, all the way up to a young adult. This may include your family and friends. No, this should include. So this is what I'm really excited for this campaign. Is so many times we have these backstories on our characters, and we have families or friends or people that exist in our lives, and they're just kind of there. And it's like the goal of the Dungeon Master to kind of incorporate those into the game. But I mean, if you're adventurers and you're always like out, come on, Lewis, inside, come on. There he goes, the big Mangus. He's been being a butt because he's got a sore spot. What was I saying? No, Lewis is the Mangus. He's the grouchy, the old buck. Lewis is the equivalent of the old guy that says, "Get off my lawn," as he sits and rocks on his porch. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. So a lot of times, like, we have backstory, and like I always tell people to not fill their backstory too much. It's again like backstory is a tool that serves us. And if the backstory isn't serving our needs, then that's wasted backstory. Don't waste your time, right? And a lot of times in the community, you might see some very embellished backstories. I think a common mistake is like, hey, I'm level 1 or I'm level 2, but I have this 3-page backstory. It's like, you've not lived enough life to have that much backstory, right? You know, like, how could you be the savior of a town and the sheriff of a province and then come here and you're only level 2? Like, you would be level 5 or 10 at that point, you know, like, just doesn't make sense for your character. But in that, you know, like, it's hard as a DM sometimes to incorporate some of those backstory elements into your game because they're at home and we're out on the seas, up in a mountain, in a deep dark cave, on an entirely different plane of existence, right? But with Daggerford, oh, we're going to be right there. Yeah, we're going to be right next to Mom. Right next to Pa. Oh yeah, they might even have a shop. Your friend's mom's and pa's shop might get robbed, and that might be a quest that where you got to go track down the people. You know, so like these family members, these friends, I'm going to have a very easy time wielding them into the story. And I think that's what I'm most excited for about this campaign is being able to have access to tools as the Dungeon Master to allow me to use that backstory to create my story. Very exciting. Well, easy, alright? Lewis does not need a publicist, okay? He was doing just fine by himself. He's an independent producer. This should include your family and friends. I think that's it. That's all. It's just say what you want to say, right? Grand yet nebulous. I like writing very concise backstories, but like I'll put intentional pieces in them, right? So like I would, if I was going to write a backstory for somebody's campaign, it would be very minimalist almost. It would have everything that I need, like a ma, pa, a place that I was, a reason to be there, stuff like that. But then I'd pick like one thing. I'd pick like one affiliation or like one event that happened in my life that's like super, super juicy. Like, and like leave it open ended. Almost like a writing prompt for my dungeon master. And if they want to use it, great. If they don't, whatever. Maybe we just don't get there. But like, you know, like, what was the last one I wrote? So my character was starting at like level 10. I wanted just to give them a really nice hand crossbow, so I gave them a blue rare one, the dragon one. It does like an extra d6 of force damage and shit. So I was like, all right, let me just like write it into my backstory, so there's no gripe for me taking this weapon. A little min max dabble. But so I was like, yeah, let me write a story on this. So my dad, this is the story. My dad was a great adventurer, and was always setting out and striking out there, and he was part of the what did I call them, the Maroon Marauders or something was the name of their group, and it was like a group of 4 or 5 people, and they had many great quests and were very successful, but the last quest went a little awry, and things got a little iffy at the end of things, and well, trust and promises were broken, and everybody betrayed each other. And my dad made it away with this one crossbow of great power. It's a very powerful crossbow. It's right, you know, and then handed that down to me as like, hey, like you can't have this. You're not ready for this, but when you're ready, blah blah blah. And then my dad dies, and then I take up his reins, and I have this crossbow in my hand. But what I'm literally carrying is a plot point and a story point. For at any point in time, the Dungeon Master wants to say, hey, the leftover members of the Maroon Marauders still want that crossbow back. The owners of the people that had that crossbow want it back. And or the ancestors of the people, like the people of my generation, like their sons want it back. Right? So like you could create so much story behind just one item that your character has, and you can base your entire background off of it. Like my father is like, it's like had this crossbow on a mantle above the fireplace and would always tell stories about it, and my mom always hated the stories because they were dangerous and doesn't want her son doing, you know. So it's like you can take such a small thing and blow it up into this majestic idea of story. Let me catch up in chat here.
How you doing, little boy?
Mystery. What's up?
How you doing, little boy?
Is this Radish? Yeah, it's Radish. What's up? I'm just doing some world building stream. And a mystery. Yeah.
I'm in my break right now. Came in to say hi.
Nice, nice. And you know what? Like, as we're talking about it, everybody, like, what's the story we're trying to tell, right? You know, so as a dungeon master, you don't want to waste your time writing a whole bunch of story beforehand to tell your players, right? And as a player, you don't want your character that you're playing to have a whole bunch of story that you're telling to your party, right? You want to have enough pieces there that you can create a story together, right? The story we're telling is the one of the togetherness, not of what your player did before we met. You know, so I think like these, and I very much have learned this through being a dungeon master, is that you become a better player because you can see things a bit in a different light. You have a different perspective on things. A lot of times I'm trying to set my dungeon master up for success, or set another player up for success in a scene, in an event, for a session, for an idea, for a direction, you know, because I've done it, I've been there, and I want to help, and I want that transition to be smooth, because it, again, just adds to your thematic, adds to the immersion, right? Alrighty day. I think so. I think that's like one of the things that I was saying before. Like, remember when we were talking about like her murder hobo-ishness and like the naivety. I feel like that's one of those things where like players don't know that they should be invested in the other person's backstory, right? Like, so here's a good example from one of my last campaigns. Um, I kept pressing and prodding and asking questions during our long rest, to try and instill conversation, to create that camaraderie, like you said, Juan, right? Um, and what I found was like, oh, after a few questions, like this person grew up in the same town that I grew up in. So I was like, boom. I was like, bam. I was like, what up, homie? I was like, like we're like represent, right? Like we know each other. We're from the same town. I grew up 2 streets over, right? Like, so like a lot of times I'm digging and searching people's backstories for those common threads. Yeah, right? Those are the friends that we like the most. The people that like just give a care. And like sometimes you don't even have to give a full care. Like you just have to show up and listen and give that affirmation, right? Be willing to listen. You don't have to be like so happy that I did this, but be like, yeah, man, that's great. I'm happy for you, right? Like sometimes that's all we need. You just listen to me and listen to that I had fun, right? And to wish that upon others. And I feel like that's back to like that naivety of the murder hobos. It's like the singular gameplay or this video game mentality where the game, like if you play Baldur's Gate, everything's focused to you and how you see things. If you play Skyrim, it's even more so because you don't have multiple PCs. You have the one PC, right? And those aren't the same tools that serve us in a TTRPG and a D&D, a very roleplay focused, RPG, right? Let's see. So I think I'm gonna go refill my drink, and then I'm gonna try and get on experience, because I think this is when it matters. Experience gain. Because this will determine how people are gonna rate stories and play their lifestyles. We're coming on just over an hour here. I'm gonna take a 5-minute break, everyone. I'll be back in a little bit with some fresh coffee. Alright. I'm back. Let's do main me. So yeah, I've been rambling. I gotta do some real work. I gotta crunch some numbers now. I'm gonna figure out how we're gonna do experience. So I've talked to a couple people about it. I would love to hear any input, if anybody has any, on using gold-based experience gain. One of the things I realized kind of in my last campaign that I ran for about a year and a half was just like balance. I used milestone just because I don't like the concept of experience through monster killing. And like also like this idea of like the idea of milestone is great because it includes the role play aspect of the game, and I think it's something that I talk about a lot with my friends over on the Lore Masters. Is like, if half your game is role play, then why are you not like getting experience in that half of the game, right? So I think a lot of people enjoy or opt for milestone because they want those things to be included. But let's look at the tool and let's look at how it serves us, right? Like, if you have used milestone and you've run a longer campaign, like as the DM eventually just gets to the point where you're like, level up. Like there's no impetus on what you're doing. I just say, oh, they've done like 3 or 4 things. It's been a couple weeks and it feels like it's about time to increase the power level a bit. And or another way to use milestone is to progress the game at a pace that you want it to progress at. So like what I mean by that is like you can really set a good timer of scale to push your players to do things as you level them up, right? Like a player's decisions at level 3 are much different than a player's decisions at level 6. Like they just got a huge power spike at level 3 or at level 6. You know, so it's like they'll feel like they can do more and they'll feel more accomplished and they should be accomplishing more things. But what I notice is I'm like, oh my god, like look, I give every time we do a thing, every time we do a quest, every time we help somebody out in town, every time we kill a monster, every time we beat a boss, every time we clear a dungeon, every time we solve a riddle in like hidden in the desert, right? There's some gems in the runes, right? There's some gold, there's some loot there, right? So it's like I already have a tool that, you know, is that incremental, like giving out, that experience type giving out gain, right? Everybody always just keeps it separate, you know, they're always 2 different things. So I want to try and use that this time around. And I think because we're doing a more commerce, political-based roleplay inside the city, I think it's going to create some really cool inspiration or desire for the characters to want to participate, right? I like giving players reasons to want to do things as opposed to just hoping they want to do things. Management is always the answer, right? So put the proper systems in place that encourage what you want to happen, what you want to see, right? So I want to see these players seek out quests, seek out missions. I want to see them seek out trade, seek out businesses, and all those things. What they give you is gold, and gold will make you more powerful, will literally level you up. And to go another step further, I'm going to, I think, incorporate, probably around like tier 3, tier 4, once they're level 10-ish, more or less when they decide to, like create their own business and create their own economy. Nice. Sounds good, Pandemonium. Thanks for the follow. Yeah, really. So this is I'm kind of traipsing into the grounds of I don't know, right? And you just kind of got to see it play out. So maybe I'll hate it, maybe I'll love it, maybe, you know, what have you. Maybe it'll change next time I do Daggerford as a campaign. So, yeah, first thing is we're gonna go over to our D&D Beyond here and get the experience numbers. I'll show you what I'm doing as I do it. Okay. So I wonder if I can find this in a list that I can copy and paste. I bet I can. Yeah, there it is. It's got the proficiency bonuses on it too. Why is it twice though? So yeah, so this is like, again, like on that, like, you're doing things the hard way. Like, no, I'm not. I just stopped what I was doing and went and copy pasted what I wanted. And like, you know, like it's that easy. It's 2023. There's never been a better time to do anything you want to do. Question is, do I need to use this proficiency in any manner or function? Because it is a decent scale to, let's look at it, a 1, 2, 4, 5. 9. So it does kind of go with the tiers here. We're gonna leave it, we're gonna table it. I might use this for hub. Each player is going to get two what? 2 upgrades. we're gonna call, yeah, there we go. I've figured out what I want it to be. They're gonna be profession points. Based off of the proficiency system. Let's see. Hey, thanks for joining. I know I'm creating a table for my my gold experience gain for my campaign here. Let's see how many points that is at the end of the day. You get 2, 5, 9, 14, 20. We get 22. Put this one at 7, and we get, that's 25, right? Let's do math. 2, 5, 9, 14, 26. 26 is 30, 26, 33, 40. That's 40 points, right? Meds. It's 40 points minus 13 points. 2, 5, 9, 14, 20. Oh yeah, 28. Plus 7. 15. On 20 is 35. And I'm gonna create this like scale. So I changed I've changed proficiency bonus into a scale for profession points, and now they're gonna be cumulative. So they'll get a total of 35 profession points to use. And what kind of I've created is, at level 4, they'll have 2 profession points, and they'll be like, well, what are these points? What can I do with these points? You can use them to add upgrades to your profession, to your shop, to your guild, to your hub, to whatever you choose you want to do in this world. And level 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you'll get 3 more, so you'll have 5 total points. 9, 10, 11, 12. We're going to get some more. And now, you know, we have a good amount of points under our belt. 7, 9 points, right? And then as we get to these high levels, 16, 18, 19, and 20, that's when we really turn it on. That's what, as far as the shape of the story goes, I want their businesses to be so successful in Tier 4 that they don't have to do anything with them. That they're just like kind of reoccurring, self-sustaining, and they don't need to put much work into them, and they just make them a good amount of money. that's when things are going to really pick up, and that's when the story's going to get more focused on what these players are going to do with all this newfound success. What's their story? Like, how do they leave their mark on the world? Thoughts that I had were like, maybe they just keep focusing on trade and they just become a monolith of monopoly on the coast, Sword Coast. Maybe they use all this power and affluence to complete one of the rich stories. Like maybe they cleanse the city of the vampire, or they find some other story that they want to kind of like solve and be the heroes of, or maybe they want to like ascend. Maybe they're gaining all this money and power to gain more power, to become greater than. So maybe one of these players wants to become a god or a deity or something. So they very much wouldn't be doing like if you're on a path to godhood, you're not going to be managing the shop, right? You're going to have all these profession points to have managers, to have employees, and to have all these things. So how these points are going to be used, I don't know, but I like the scale. I saw it there, and I wanted to reuse that. Profession points will go in tandem with gold being spent. Let's put this on its own page, though. It almost fits. Can I make it smaller? No, I can't make it smaller. We can just get rid of these. We can get rid of this one at least. Almost got it on one page. Formatting. Can I format just this page? Didn't do anything for me. Okay. Let's see. This is stuff for me. Keep everything past this is going to be for players. Inspiration. So we need all the classes. Come on in, Lewis. So I need... all the classes. Oh, this is perfect. This is exactly what we need. Barbarian strength. Ugh. Does it do this every friggin' time? Why is it doing that to me? What was the next one? Cleric Wisdom. Try and relax a bit more here as I sit. So what I'm doing now is I'm just formatting all the classes I see here with their primary abilities. And I've envisioned a new use for inspiration, and it's going to be a way for the characters to see past the meta. Have an advantage that other characters or people won't be able to use in the game, other than themselves. This is what makes them stand out from other PCs in the world. Fighter strength or dex. Monk is Dex Wiz. Nice, he's even got the new ones. We love it. Oh, that's gonna be really fun. Paladin, strength, charisma. I'll just change the formatting after. Ranger, Dex, Wisdom. Sorcerer, I believe. No, wizard. Just intelligence. What? Oh, ranger, rogue. Hmm. Charisma. Warlock, charisma. Wizard. So what I see with these, I feel like the inspiration points are going to have a mechanic where when one of these characters of any of these classes, all the classes get to use them in their own different special way. So this is becoming more of a class flavored thing. But if it's one of their stats that's their core stat, so barbarian strength, bard charisma, cleric wisdom, they'll be able to use an inspiration point to determine the strength score or the AI score or the stat score, or however you word it, of a creature that they can see clearly within 60 feet as a free action. At any point in time, they just get to discern an information point, a piece of meta that they would never get to know or understand, but now they can utilize. And this is I feel like this has applications in both combat and in roleplay. And I'm excited to see how the players use it. It's kind of a play on know your enemy or know thy enemy, which I don't feel like I'm stepping on any toes with that feature of fighters, battle masters, because it's like never used. I had it for 2 years in a campaign and like got to use it once. And the one time I used it, I had to literally sit there and convince my entire party for like 30 minutes to an hour to let me do it. And it was the worst experience, I think, of my life. And I just was like, why did I even... I was with them in character creation. I was like, oh, this would be a good idea. We could use this together. And then everyone was just like close their eyes, like, yeah, And it's like, well, then are we gonna do it? Well, no, we'll just run in. We'll just run in and just fight it and just smack our heads off the wall. Oh, okay. We could have a much easier time if we, so it's like, in application, know thy enemy doesn't really get used, I don't think. So I like this aspect. Wizard, we got more classes here. Wizard, Artificer, just intelligence. Blood Hunter's next, which gets a whole bunch. I'm excited for them to have a whole bunch. Strength, Dex, Intelligence, Wisdom. Oh. And I really like doing this. Like when you make mechanics, I like trying to not make mechanics that are going to stomp on other mechanics, but B, utilize what is given. So like I wanted to create a scale, and I based that scale off of the proficiency scale. So is that the same trend as other things in the game? And like same thing with this. I want the inspiration I want them to be able to garner use of a stat slot, but I'm using the core stats of these classes to kind of direct that and create some so it kind of just like seamlessly fits into the other rules and mechanics of the game. What's left? There's one left down there. No, that's it. So, reformat. Okay. Each type with one hand. Mitch, just type with one hand. Each player, each palette, each player gains an inspiration point upon completing a long rest. Maybe do I not want to institute this right away? I just had a thought. Alright, Jezebel, I'll let you out, honey girl. Damn cats. I wish they would just go to the door. I'm the only one responsible for letting them out because I'm a sucker! I'm a cat sucker, dad sucker. It's like, I love you so much, I'll do it. No, because that's going to interfere with points.
Hey, I have to interrupt quick.
Ooh boy, we got some some water in the ship. Quite literally in the basement. Let's see, Packing's inspiration point upon completing a long rest. Yeah, I think so. They're just gonna have this from the beginning, always. I want them to always use these. That's the whole point. Was for them to use it frequently and then for it to be a thing. Yeah, something's we got a pipe leaking in the basement or something going on down there. It's not a finished basement, so it's not cause for crazy alarm. But we definitely gotta get it figured out. And Amanda's she's pulling up her sleeves and putting the boots on. So big props to the wife right now. Yeah, for real, she's been a trooper. Dealing with me and all my inabilities. Upon completing a long rest. You may use inspiration as a free action to discern the ability score of one creature within you may use inspiration as a free action to discern the ability score of one creature you can see clearly within 60 feet. I don't know, just because I think it's a good number. 60 feet is, I'm pretty sure, is the range of most spells and the range of like counter spell. Yeah, I think it's a good number. On that, like 60 feet is the sweet number for like if you're trying to make a build. If it's like a PvP, this is like a little secret from my games played. If it's a PvP build and or you just want a character that is proficient at locking down mages and being a mage slayer, if you will, your goal should be to attempt to incapacitate this creature before or after being outside of 60 feet of them. So if you can cast a spell outside of 60 foot that will incapacitate the caster, you're good. If you can get in melee range and then move 60 feet out in that same breath. So it's like what you do is you create this bubble of, and it's all based around counter spell. Because if the caster is unable to counter one of your crucial spells to lock them down, then they can't cast it, right? And conversely, if you're within that 60-foot bubble, but you're able to get in and out of it in your own leeway, like a monk, I think is totes the ability to be able to move effectively 60 feet and around to go in and out of that bubble as a mage slayer, right? So, yeah, I think. Wait, what? Oh my God! What did I say? Don't do that. What's wrong? It's literally a fee. Don't do that to me. Dude, my heart literally just jumped. I was like, what? What's happening? Wait, what? Are you just upset because you play blue? Let's see. 60 feet. Wait, why is it Beyonce's internet? I'm sorry, I didn't. I wasn't aware that she is taking claim. I mean, she is the queen, so it makes sense that her discretion would be advised. Let's see here. Alright, I'm gonna finish inspiration. I'm gonna type this out, and then I think I'm gonna close the stream up. I gotta get some rest. I'm starting to get tired. The immune inspiration for discerning ability score, you can see them clearly. Each class may discern when are you streaming tonight, Juan? Each class may discern discern ability score. Round 7, nice. Yeah, I'll probably come check out what's going on. Based off their primary ability is another thing. When you're creating mechanics, you want to try and use the same verbiages. Based off their primary ability. Ooh, wow, you got a busy schedule ahead of you. Let's see. And then you may also use no, that's just like unnecessary words. Based off their primary ability and the list that follows. And the list that follows. Like, I have a bunch of these already like theorized. So, HP max. AB current HP total, and these are definitely all going to be subject to change. I think we're going to kind of slap them in my friends' faces and force them to give me their opinions until I settle on an answer that I like. A druid. What is a druid? Charisma. Caster level. Patron. That one might be subject to change. Ooh, any what are those called? Skill. Skill. What's a druid about? What would a druid do? What are other things that characters might want to know from characters from monster sheets? Ooh. Defenses, maybe? Or is that for a rogue? What would the rogue be able to discern? Yeah, maybe the rogue is defenses. I like that. The Blood Hunter already gets enough, so they're fine. Perception, passive intelligence. Saving throw. Who would be able to determine a saving throw? A druid, maybe? Because the druid doesn't tend to have too many spells that are like super lockdowny, and I think they would use this determining a saving throw maybe to, I don't know, maybe for good too. I don't know what I'm thinking here. I'm kind of just, I want to just throw a bunch of things down and then like let my brain think about it for a little while. What do we need here? The fighter needs something, a monk, a paladin. What could a ranger determine? I guess maybe some of these could repeat. Oh, armor class. There's a good one. AC. A monk. A passive score. Passive. Senses. Yeah, I think that makes sense too thematically. And also, multi-classes will be able to use both. So I'm not going to limit anybody here. So if you're a barbarian bard, you can not only determine their a skill score, but their HP max. Either or, you still only get one use of inspiration per day per long rest. So if you don't get a long rest, you're not getting an inspiration point, and you can only long rest once per day. Paladin, Ranger, Artificer. What would they be able to determine? As a Ranger, maybe something a Ranger can determine. What can they do? Perhaps the Ranger can I'm trying to think of something that's like equal. I'm going to do initiative. Does anybody really care about initiative? I don't know. I feel like I'm stuck. I feel like the inspiration has gone dry, so we're just going to leave it here. I'm going to let my brain think about it as we take a napo. Yes. This is me saying I'm taking that break now. I think I don't have any more ideas. So with that, I will bid you all adieu. Oh, that's my Pathfinder page. Thanks for coming, hanging out. Thanks for the follows. Thank you, Juan. I'll come hit you up around 7 o'clock. Everybody have a good day and peace.